going on, guys? I'm going to try to narrate you through my dives today, just to put you in my head and see what my thought processes are while I'm doing these dives and what I'm trying to look for and what I'm actually trying to do. For the most part, because I don't really know what I do half the time. I'm just swimming, really. So this area I'm in is a dock that's up along the rocks with a sunken portion of it, I believe from an older dock that used to be here. It holds lots of tog, or also known as blackfish, up in the northeast. It can hold sheep's head and any of the other sort of wreck fish that you find in shallow waters around here. Flounder too, which you'll see later on. I mean, you can see there's tons of life, lots of little tog, a few little sea bass, but nothing that is worth shooting so far. You can see here, I like to use the tip of my spear to kind of break off some of the barnacles and the pilings. I don't know if it really helps, but I think it helps to make the smaller tog start to feed, which, even if it doesn't fool the bigger tog, makes them curious into what the smaller tog are doing and stuff like that. I had a few issues in this area just because it was a little bit shallow for the weight I had. So you'll see in a few of these clips, it's hard for me to stay tight to the bottom, which kind of gets in the way when I'm trying to stand still and let the tog come in close. Here's another dive here. You can see there's a little bit more all the juvenile sea bass at the bottom, a few horseshoe crabs, just overall a lot of life. This dive, I don't know exactly why I'm staying at the ground. I might be looking for flounder. I did that a lot this day because I wasn't really trying to shoot a tog. I shot a bunch earlier in the week, and I hadn't really felt like eating more. So you can see here is a little flounder, which I was very happy to see because I haven't seen many at all this year. It's been a very poor year for them. And this guy was not very skittish at all. I was able to touch him without him even spooking off. You can see here's a couple of nice tog in. I think about it, but once again decide I don't really need one, and if I'm going to shoot one, I want it to be around like 20 inches. And you can see I wasn't even planning on shooting that flounder, but I probably wouldn't have seen it if it hadn't jumped up like that. Gave me a perfect shot and just right through the head. Perfect placement, I think. Alright, so here's another dive. You can see the water got a little bit dirtier. I mean, in general, the water's not that clear. This is probably the best day I've had all year in terms of visibility. To see more than the end of my spear, which is most I like to have. It's still the same area. I'm just kind of diving different sections of it, trying to explore a little more. After I shot that flounder, I was very excited because I hadn't seen any flounder at all this year. So I spent a lot more of the day looking around in the sands, trying to find more flounder. Here you can see lots of smaller tog. I'm trying to look out and see if there's a bigger one, big male. You can tell by the whiter bits on their face. The big males get like white lips and a bit of a white chin. Makes it pretty easy to distinguish them even in the dirty water, but sometimes it's a little difficult to get them to come close enough to get a good shot at them. So here on this dive, once again, just same area, just trying to look around, just keep going back and forth. These tog move around so much. There isn't a huge benefit to moving around these pilings. You go down the same area and kind of just move deeper off into the channel where there's more structure. I might run into a bigger fish. They're not really sitting still, so if I can get to an area with a lot of structure and just sit still, a bigger fish is bound to come in close. You can see here, once again, I'm trying to grab onto something on the bottom and floating up. I should have been wearing a little bit more weight, but I've been going between varying depths, so trying to maintain my weight was very difficult. I don't think I mentioned it before, but I think this spot was around 18 to 20 feet deep. My weights were adjusted for about like 25 to 30, so just a little bit too light, so kept causing me to float up and spook fish, which was a little bit annoying for the most part. A lot of these dives, I'm just trying to enjoy what's down here. I haven't had many times to dive this summer, and just trying to be in the water is where I'm feeling most comfortable. So trying to lay on the bottom, just look at the tog, try to observe what they're doing. I haven't shot too many within the last year or so, so I'm trying to learn more about them, try to see how they react to behavior, try different tactics. And I've seen people who try grunting or scratching and stuff, so I've tried that a few times and just try to see what really affects them. This area was a little bit difficult, as again, because I kept floating up, so no matter what I did, they all got spooked eventually. But I was just kind of enjoying it, basically just watching the fish, just trying to observe what they were doing. The little fish didn't seem to care at all. I mean, you can see the little tog and the little sea bass, they'll come right up to my gun and basically just sit on the tip of it, pretty much taunting me, because I'll never pull the trigger on a little one like that. It's not even gonna matter. You can see on this dive, I got pretty far down into the channel here. The issue with this spot is that the most of the structure is in the middle of the ship channel here, so I can't go out that far and dive there from the middle. I have to go down along the pilings, then swim along the bottom, swim out. So I can only get so far in a certain breath and be able to get back up to the pilings so I don't get my head hit by a prop. See, this dive, the water was actually much clearer. I don't know why. Just a nice plume of blue water came through and cleared things up. This point, I was kind of on a frenzy. I'm like, I shot that nice flounder. Maybe there's a bigger one hanging around, so I started looking for it. Found this little lure just sitting on the bottom. I like to just pick up the trash and keep things clean down there. It's also nice sometimes get to try out a new lure, maybe for striper some other time. It's a slightly different area, just a little bit down from the same area I've been diving. Just trying to check out a few different spots now, because I'm less focused on watching the tog and more focused on trying to find a flounder in the sand. I mean, I don't think I see any here that I missed. I'm kind of going back and forth pretty quickly, but if anyone else sees it, let me know. Sees any, let me know, because I feel like I don't have the best eye for them. The one I got, I think I got lucky because he decided to move right when I got close. So this dive here, same area, I'm just trying to look around. I was a little bit more focused on tog on this dive, just because I don't really want to shoot that one, because I've shot plenty of legal fish, but I wanted to find one that was pushing that 19-20 inch mark, because those are the best you can really find in the bay here. I'd love a monster, but not too greedy. I have the camera tilted a little bit too far down in my head, so you can't really see up. You see the shadows of the bigger fish sometimes that are swimming through. Here you can see a few fish come in. It's not super easy to tell. I can see one in the distance, which is the one I shoot at. I shoot a little bit over its head and just miss barely. But I thought it would look like a bigger fish, 18-19 inches is what I wanted, but unfortunately my aim was not the best. Here's another dive, same area. I don't like shooting that spear when I don't have to, so after shooting that I think I spooked a lot of the fish, so I only spent one or two more dives here. Really just checking the sands again for flounder. Fluke mostly, but winter flounder and any other type of flat fish I'm always on the lookout. Just neat to see. See, these tog came in pretty close. Pretty cool to see. they can move pretty quick as soon as they get spooked. They just basically disappear into the murk. Finally diving a slightly different area. This is pretty much a sunken jetty. A lot of rocks, a lot of holes. Find lots of tog, love to hang around here, and every so often I'll see some smaller fluke around the edges. Always on the lookout for a bigger one, but don't always see it. Right here I'm going diving down on the top of the jetty, just looking around, and you can see a pretty big tog comes out of the hole there and just surprises me. I don't normally see them sitting inside of the wreck, or the reef, which is why I kind of stuck my head inside there looking as like, hey, anyone else home? But a little interesting. You can see this area is pretty shallow. The top of this jetty is only about 8 feet deep. You get to the other side and it drops down to about 25 or 30, but I was trying to stay overall shallow today. I had a few ear issues earlier in the week while diving, and I didn't want to push it too far. And I was really just enjoying the clear water for once. I didn't need to dive super deep. It was better shallower anyway, so I enjoyed it. Again, since it's shallow, in this area has a lot of current, so once again I'm trying to hold on to the rocks and give myself better balance. It doesn't always work and I float up and spook the fish, but I can do what I can do. Here's another dive in the same area, a little bit deeper part of the rock pile. Looking around the edges in the sand again for more flounder. I wasn't really focused on tog, as I've been mentioning, but I tossed back and forth each dive whether or not I wanted to try to scan around for flounder or hug the rock and hope a big tog came in. Here another dive, scanning the sand again, once again for flounder. I'm moving up towards the rocks a little bit, so kind of in the back of my mind keeping an eye out for that 19-20 inch tog that I've been kind of trying to find, but just kind of back and forth here. I see a slightly bigger tog here again out of range, but I once again, for some reason, I've been shooting very high today and I shot right over its head again. I need to remember in the future to tilt my camera up a little tiny bit more so that you can actually see those higher angle shots. Now after I shot and missed that tog, I'm really trying to more focus on the tog, so I'm trying to hug the rock, stay as close to the ground as possible, try to not make any movements, and just let the fish get comfortable with me and coming close. The current did not help, neither did my lack of weight, but I did my best trying to hide in the rocks and the seaweed. You can see here I'm really struggling to try to stay on the bottom. Don't know why I even used my trigger hand to hold the rock. See, there's lots of fish though, a couple good ones, and I take one that I like. Ended up measuring at 16, so not this big one I was looking for, but perfect size to fry up for some fish tacos. Alright, here I am the morning after. I wanted to ice the fish down last night and I went surfing, so I didn't get around to cutting them until now. There's the tog. Got about halfway through filleting this flounder and it looks like the stomach has something in it. Trying to do this with one hand is not very simple. Huh. Eat a little tiny sea bass. It's the first time I've seen it happen. And a couple smaller fish too. Oh, or maybe the skeleton of another sea bass. It's pretty cool. All cleaned up, ready for a nice release. And the rest of it just in time for breakfast.